Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
I'm tracking a front out ahead of it today. We'll see some cloud cover, but some sunshine later on. But this front's going to deliver some very cold air for us by tomorrow.
Playing it safe. Several school systems in our area are opening late or are closed altogether today. Their decisions to keep kids home this morning.
It's because of that ice that has stuck around. We have the WRAL storm tracker out there on the road this morning as there are concerns about slippery conditions in some areas. This is a live look as we roll into Roxborough.
And making progress. Crews in Southern California are gaining ground in their effort to stop the wildfires. The conditions they expect this week that could make their work even more difficult. And also a little later, we'll be sharing stories of hope, resilience, and heartwarming reunions from those California wildfires. Good morning, everyone. It is 6 o'clock on your Monday. I feel like I just saw you.
Yeah,
I'm Renee Chu. It was a short but eventful weekend.
I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, here Saturday morning for all of that event. Quite an event it was for a lot of folks out there. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. Some of those slick, icy spots, not surprisingly, to our north.
Yes, this is where we had more of the accumulating snow on Friday night. And this is, of course, where we could still see some lingering ice on the roads. This is a look, of course, at, say, Durham, Orange County, all the counties that are bordering Virginia. A special weather statement from the National Weather Service doesn't quite reach the criteria of an advisory or a warning, but it's just a heads up. And we take a look at Roxborough right now, and you can see the streets look clear, but there's a lot of snow on the sidewalks. There's snow piled up there beside the street. So anywhere where the snow wasn't removed or didn't melt, it's going to be slippery this morning. 32 is our temperature at RDU, so we're sitting right at freezing. A little bit of a wind chill, as a west wind there at about 5 miles per hour. It's 32 in Roxborough. It feels like 27 in the Triangle. It feels like 28 in Fayetteville and 29 in Southern Pines. So a little bit of a wind chill. Temperatures are sitting close to freezing. This afternoon, we'll see increasing sunshine after a cloudy start this morning. Highs in the low 50s. The next thing that we're watching is bitterly cold air that arrives in the next couple of days, Ken.
Hey, Elizabeth, at 6:01, we are monitoring those slick and icy spots, possibly with the help of the WRAL storm tracker Kelsey Coffey in Roxborough this morning, giving us a first-hand account of what you're seeing out your window. Kelsey.
Ken, right now we are in Roxborough, so we'll give you a live look now at road conditions here. So it looks like the roads are pretty clear, like what Elizabeth mentioned earlier, but we are seeing snow piled up on the sidewalks. And just as far as folks' morning commute, you shouldn't be seeing too many trouble spots, but just be careful because there may be a few slick spots left. But Ken, are you monitoring any crashes so far this morning?
That's the good news. No crashes to report this morning, but Orange County is one of those spots that the Weather Service says you could see some icy and slippery conditions on the roadways this morning. That's why I'm giving you a still shot that was taken just in the last minute or so of I-40 and Irwin. Trust me when I say traffic is flowing nicely in both directions there on I-40 in Orange County. But no major incidents reported in any of our major routes coming into the Triangle and surrounding communities. It's free and clear right now.
Ken, thanks. This morning, Wake County schools are on a normal schedule today. Other schools in our area are closed or delayed because of potentially dangerous road conditions. Orange, Franklin, and Warren County schools are closed. Other districts, including Durham and Chapel Hill Carborough schools, are delayed 2 hours this morning. Several other districts will have remote learning today. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from Orange County, where schools are closed for the day. Laura, school leaders decided to play it safe. This is all for the safety of the students.
And here's why, Renee, taking a live look here in Hillsborough this morning. You can see that we still have some white covered roads here, some patchy ice, and still a whole lot of snow that's left over from that winter weather event on Friday. So, of course, those school officials, school leaders, and law enforcement here playing it safe and making that call. We're especially seeing some issues on the secondary roads in the northern part of the county. Take a look at this video. This is what our crew saw when traveling here yesterday evening. Slick spots and patchy ice is causing some unsafe driving conditions. The sheriff says deputies responded to a couple of crashes yesterday due to the roads. Now, one resident says roads in her neighborhood are still covered in ice, and she understands why school leaders would be worried.
I'm from Maryland, so I'm kind of like, okay, let's just be sensible about this. Keep the tire straight, keep going at a consistent pace, and you're fine. If you don't know how to handle it, I can definitely see where some people might be worried.
So as the morning progresses and the sun comes up, we could see the conditions improve in this area once a little bit of melting happens here on the roadways. As far as those school delays and closures, you can head to WRAL.com for a full list. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Hillsborough.
And you can stay up to date on any changes to your child's school day with the free WRAL News app. You can also take a look at the live radar and get the latest forecast from our WRAL weather team anytime.
One person is in custody after a police chase in Durham. The WRAL breaking news tracker was there at Oxford Manor Apartments. This was about 90 minutes ago, where police say they chased a car there after a carjacking. People who were in that car then ran into one of those apartments. One person was captured by officers, and we are making calls to learn more about what happened there. We're also working to learn more about an investigation in Raleigh into shots fired. It happened on Western Boulevard at Clanton Street just after 10 o'clock last night. You see this heavy police presence here. Police say it is unclear, though, whether anyone was shot.
Durham's mayor is expressing his frustration after a 15-year-old boy was shot and killed in the city. The teen was shot and killed on Danube Lane on Saturday afternoon. Mayor Leo Williams told WRAL he is fed up with gun violence in Durham. He says he and other city leaders are trying to find ways to get it under control. He also says the public needs to be more engaged in finding ways to make a difference.
I share these concerns. I share the fact that public safety is, for the most part, being ignored, and I share the frustration that our public safety apparatus, our inner systems are not working well together.
And Williams launched the Bull City Future Fund to raise money to cut through the red tape and expand the footprint of youth organizations. WRAL is working to learn more about Saturday's shooting, including whether the teen was targeted.
Fire crews are making some progress fighting those California wildfires. The largest fire is the Palisades fire. It is now 13% contained. The gusty Santa Ana winds, though, that are fueling that fire are expected to keep blowing there for the next 3 days or so. That, combined with the dry conditions, is leading to more red flag warnings for the area already devastated. At least 24 people are now confirmed dead in these wildfires. More than 12,000 buildings have been destroyed, and a lot of those are people's homes. Evacuation orders remain in place for more than 100,000 people. More than 80,000 others are in evacuation warning zones, meaning they may be asked to leave at a moment's notice. Chris Levengood is tracking the new developments in the WRAL Live Center for us this morning. Chris, we know this is a big step. Kids are going back to school in L.A. today.
It is a big step, Jeff, despite the fact that there is still a public health emergency in place in that area of Los Angeles, specifically because of the air quality there. The health officials there are a bit concerned about smoke and other particulates that could be in the air, which could be harmful to some people and the more at-risk folks, people who have a hard time breathing. But I want to show you this video here. We saw the video behind you earlier with the fire, and now I want to show you the aftermath. I saw this on the feeds this morning, and I just had to show our viewers this. Just the remains of this specific spot that's after the Palisades fire pushed through here. Notice the destruction that was brought to the building that used to stand there, the trees that are there, and this is just a particular reminder just of the might of the wildfires that have pushed across the Los Angeles area and other parts of Southern California.
Just awful to see. Chris, thank you. Today, top Democrats are speaking out about the legal battle over the state Supreme Court election. DNC Chair Jamie Harrison is set to join State Democratic Party Chair Anderson Clayton and former Governor Roy Cooper for a press call at 2 this afternoon. They'll address a GOP lawsuit over a still undecided race for the state Supreme Court. Democratic Justice Allison Riggs appears to have won, but Republican challenger Jefferson Griffin says 60,000 voters should never have been allowed to cast a ballot. A federal court will hear oral arguments in the case at the end of the month.
FEMA's Transitional Sheltering Assistance Program has been extended. It was supposed to end Saturday. FEMA paid for hotel and motel rooms for thousands of people displaced by Helene. Those people can now stay in that housing at least until tomorrow due to the serious winter weather in western North Carolina.
If somebody has received that notification, but they haven't talked to somebody at FEMA and their situation is still in need, they are still eligible. We just need them to get in touch with us so we can talk to them. Everybody's going to have a unique circumstance. Everybody's going to have a unique situation. We need to work with them all individually to make sure we're getting them the right resource so they can continue to stay in a safe place until their home is either rebuilt or it's accessible.
And FEMA is also assisting some local governments so they can provide help in this cold weather.
Today is your last chance to tell leaders in Raleigh how you'd like your tax dollars spent. The city is holding its final listening session today. It's happening at the Barwell Road Community Center on Barwell Park Drive from 6 to 7:30 p.m. After today's session, city leaders will begin reviewing the budget and finalizing recommendations. 6:09 on your Monday morning. Honoring a legend. We'll show you the ceremony honoring Kane's great Eric Stahl, his number raised to the rafters.
And so many have lost so much in the California wildfires. Coming up, moments of joy, a happy reunion, and a family treasure found. And starting off pretty chilly this morning, Elizabeth.
It is. You're going to need your coat, but you know, it is January. Take a look here. Temperatures are anywhere from freezing to just below, but we have much colder air on the way. I'll show you when our wind chills are back into the teens coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:13, taking a live look at Lewisburg, and you can still see a few icy spots potentially right there in front of the courthouse. Definitely a little bit of snow in some spots there in the grass, but the road is looking fine. As you get a little closer to the Virginia line, where we saw a bit more snowfall on Friday night, you could run into a few icy patches. We do have crews out looking for those, and so far, Kelsey in the Storm Tracker says things that she's seen have been fairly clear, but it is dark out, and she is still looking around. 32 in Lewisburg and Southern Pines, 31 Fayetteville and South Hill, 28 in Irwin. Now it's cold out there, but we're going to see much colder air coming in by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be a fairly mild afternoon with a high of 51 if you're out walking the dog. Maybe all you need is a sweater, Ken.
And happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, Orange County, Elizabeth, is one of those areas. The Weather Service says we could see some slick and icy spots this morning. There's a live look at I-85 there in Orange County. This is near Hillsborough, and you can see right on the median and on the shoulder of the road, you can still see some snowy conditions in terms of when the sun comes up, that stuff is going to melt away. But back here in Durham, I-40 and Davis Drive, traffic flowing nicely in both directions. The good news is we're not seeing any incidents in any of our major thoroughfares this morning. Wendell to Raleigh, Chapel Hill and Durham, all free and clear this morning. And Jeff, of course, I'll have another update in just a few minutes.
We'll hope to keep it that way and clean today. Thanks, Ken. Federal Appeals Court reinstated a lawsuit from a former NC State athlete who claims he was sexually abused. The unidentified athlete claims the Wolfpack's former director of sports medicine, Robert Murphy Jr., abused him during treatment. The appeals court overturned a district court's dismissal of his lawsuit. A related lawsuit by former soccer player Benjamin Locke remains active.
A benefit concert at the House of Blues in New Orleans is helping families of the New Year's Day terror attack victims. Dozens of people filled the historic concert venue Saturday night for the good cause. Organizers say 100% of the proceeds are going to the families of the 14 people who died. They say the money will be used to help with funeral costs, medical bills, and other expenses.
A heartfelt reunion between a man and his dog, and a family heirloom thought to be lost was found. WRAL's Michelle McConaughey has the emotional videos coming out of these California wildfires. First up, that dog missing for 5 days, Michelle.
It's wild that the dog was able to be reunited with its owner, but as multiple fires ripped through Southern California, there really are just endless stories of heartbreak and loss. But these stories, a bright spot. Casey Colvin was searching for his two dogs, Oreo and Tika Tika. Colvin wasn't home when the evacuation orders were put in place and was desperately trying to get back home. A firefighter was able to rescue one dog from his house, but Oreo was still missing. Here is the reunion after multiple sightings by neighbors. the happy reunion. It turns out Oreo was hiding in his neighbor's home amongst the rubble, and the moment that he saw Casey, he just came running. So you can see he is overjoyed. And another special recovery in the rubble, a treasured heirloom passed down 3 generations. Here it is here. Firefighters with the Orange City Fire Department, they received a message about a family forced to evacuate their home, and they couldn't take their belongings. One of those belongings was the ring. After sifting through debris, they found a safe, and inside, there it was, the ring. The family says they are eternally grateful to the fire crews for recovering their most meaningful possession. But it's just so good to hear stories like this because there's so much devastation there.
Well, you just see the joy on that reunion with that dog. It gives you chills for sure. Michelle, thanks. New this morning, Beyonce's foundation is donating $2.5 million to the California wildfire relief effort. The Big Good Foundation made the announcement overnight, and it says the money is for families who lost their homes and for churches and community centers to address immediate needs of victims. Beyonce established the foundation in 2013 to help with economic disparities within communities. And coming up in What's Trending, we'll look at more work celebrities are doing to help.
Another number is in the rafters at the Lenovo Center. The Carolina Hurricanes retired Eric Stahl's number 12 during a ceremony last night. Stahl was the Canes captain for 7 seasons. He scored more goals and assists in a Hurricanes jersey than any other player. He was also the team's leading scorer in their Stanley Cup winning 2006 playoff run.
The memory that I have of being a Hurricane is being a champion. I mean, I won a Stanley Cup. I only won one. That's not easy to win. I won it here, and there's nothing better than that.
Stahl is the 4th player to have his number retired by the Hurricanes. He and his family now live in Minnesota, and good to have him back in town. It was almost as if he brought the Minnesota weather back here with him. Let's give you a live look at the downtown Raleigh skyline. A beautiful morning so far to start, but it is cold out there. Here's a live look at Fayetteville Street, and you can see the lights there, all looking very pretty. We'll give you another look around town here on all the different cameras, the glittering lights of North Hills. But out there, the big story this morning is, of course, still the cold, and that's lingering with us, Elizabeth. And because of all the melting we saw yesterday, we're concerned about the refreezing today.
Especially up in our northern counties where we saw a little bit more snow. We saw, 2 to 3.5 inches in our northern counties. And so not all of that has completely melted, and anything that was starting to melt is definitely refreezing. Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, all cloudy this morning. Chapel Hill, too, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. But we're not looking at any precipitation, even though it's cloudy as you're heading out the door. We do have the top of the tower lit in purple for cloudy skies this morning. We do have a good chance of rain once we get to the weekend, and this one definitely looks all like rain. The cold air is going to retreat. It's coming in big time for the next few days, especially Wednesday and Thursday, but just in time for the weekend, it exits up to the north, and we're going to see a good chance for rain, especially on Saturday. Here's a look at what's happening right now, and I know you're seeing on the radar a little bit of pink and purple showing up. None of that is reaching the ground. Our air mass is just too dry. It's evaporating. This front is going to deliver us some colder air, and that will arrive tonight and into the day tomorrow. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all really, really cold, while all of that rain stays down to the south. But then another front arrives just in time for the weekend. We'll pause it there at lunchtime. Look at this rain rolling in on Saturday. The yellow and orange shaded areas are where that rain's going to be fairly steady to heavy. It begins to lighten up a little bit on Sunday. More of a question mark as to, how much rain we may see on Sunday. A lot of that may be closer to the coast. So Saturday looks like a pretty definite thing for rain. Sunday we'll be watching it. Another thing that we're watching is next week we get into more cold air, and there is certainly the potential for a winter storm. We take a look at our Climate Prediction Center 8 to 14 day risk of snow, and most of that is mountains north and west. Right now we're not in that, but of course we're watching for patterns. There's a 7% chance next week of an inch of snow, and that's not much. The models, if you've heard, have been kind of flip-flopping on that. So we're looking for patterns, and the pattern just hasn't really set up yet for us to feel much confidence in what we might see next week. Definitely feeling confident in the cold cold air, though. 39 on Wednesday. And Ken, our wind chills are going to be into the teens. I'll show you which mornings will be the coldest coming up.
Heavy coat weather coming.
Yes.
Elizabeth, thanks. Hey, because of those possible icy and slick conditions, we do have the WRAL storm tracker out on the roads this morning. Kelsey Coffey is in Person County this morning, and as we take a live look at her picture this morning, basically she has not been seeing any major issues there in Person County. She's been driving around since we've been on the air this morning, so which is good news. Clearly, a quiet start to the morning commute there in Person County. Orange County is another one of those areas where the Weather Service says we could see some slick roads. This is a live look at I-85 there near Hillsborough this morning. We can see traffic flowing nicely in both directions. In Durham, I-40 and Davis Drive, similarly, no issues to report this morning, which is definitely good news if you're about to head out. If you are heading out, tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3. You can listen to us anywhere in the Triangle.
Tragedy after a local house fire. How neighbors are remembering a woman found dead in the remains of a burned out home.
And liftoff called off. The problems that forced Blue Origin to postpone the launch of its new 30-story tall rocket early this morning.
And this morning, a new chapter begins on today. It's Craig Melvin's first day as the show's co-anchor alongside Savannah Guthrie. His welcome party will be full of surprises. That's coming up on Today.
First, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Celebrities are doing what they can to help people who lost everything in the California wildfires.
Ken Smith's here now with what's trending on a Monday morning, Ken.
Yeah, Jeff and Renee, that's why Halle Berry is one of those celebrities trending this morning. She was at a volunteer site over the weekend sorting clothes and toys to be distributed to fire victims. Berry says she is donating her entire closet to the cause. She's also working with fellow actress Sharon Stone on a donation drive.
So Halle Berry donating her entire closet, amazingly generous. When I first heard that, I'm thinking, wow, those are probably some amazing designer clothes that she's contributing to the cause. But really nice to see a lot of the celebrities using their platforms to reach out and help those folks and really trying to do any help that they can.
Yeah, just get other people also to send in their clothes that they may not be using. Yeah.
Leading by example.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting. Former One Direction star Zayn Malik celebrating his 32nd birthday with an elaborate and rather scary-looking cake. He showed off his Last of Us themed cake and posts to Instagram. I'm not sure I want a slice of that.
That is a skin-crawling confection right there, no doubt about it. So the zombie-themed series there, it looks almost edible. Not sure.
Yeah.
He said it's the best cake he's ever seen in 32 years.
Well, that's one of those cakes where you hope it tastes better than it looks. Wow.
It's got to.
Ken, thank you. A celebration is happening today for the first apprenticeship program between Amgen and Wake Tech. Amgen announced plans last month to invest $1 billion to expand its manufacturing facility in Holly Springs. 12 Wake Tech students are participating.
As you're headed out the door, grab the coats this morning. Temperatures are at or just below freezing. We're watching out for any slick spots as our temperatures are near freezing this morning. But I'll show you when the temperatures will go a lot colder coming up.
Yeah, and those icy conditions, if it was wet yesterday, it's frozen this morning. The decisions school districts are making because of concerns about possible hazardous roads.
And the work to get the Southern California wildfires under control is facing additional challenges. The weather conditions crews are battling as they try to stop the fires from spreading further.